You know, there's a lot of noise around the Dallas Cowboys every offseason, but this time something feels different. And it's not just about a new player or a flashy move. It's about a vibe, a shift you can feel even from the outside looking in. As we dive into these OTAs, there's one thing that keeps coming up again and again in every report, every player interview, and every insider take: energy. That's right, energy is the word. And when multiple players start using the same exact word without being prompted, you know it's real. But let me ask you this: have you been feeling it too? Have you noticed the tone around this team start to change since Brian Schottenheimer took the reins? It's like there's this charge in the air, and it's not just about the usual optimism. This time, it feels grounded. It feels like something that's being built intentionally, brick by brick. From what we're hearing, this isn't the same Cowboys team we saw limp out of the playoffs last season. No, this is a group that's locked in, bought in, and buzzing with excitement. And I think it all starts at the top. Brian Schottenheimer isn't just calling plays, he's setting the tone. Players are responding, coaches are buying in, and it's creating a trickle-down effect that's starting to shape the culture in ways we haven't seen in years. But don't just take my word for it. You're going to hear it straight from the guys in the locker room in a minute. Before we go any further, though, I need you to do me a quick favor. If you're enjoying this breakdown and you want to keep up with everything happening inside the Cowboys locker room, make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do it now. We're pushing for 14,000 subscribers, and I know with your help, we'll hit that goal in no time. All right, now let's get into the heart of this. Because once you hear what these players are saying, you'll know this energy isn't just talk. Let's start with what we've actually been hearing from the locker room, because it's not just one or two players tossing around buzzwords, it's consistent. Multiple veterans and younger guys alike have pointed to a noticeable difference in how things feel at the Star. And the common thread in all of it? Brian Schottenheimer. Now, we know Schottenheimer's not new to the team. He was on the staff last year. But this is his first full off season where he's actually in charge of the offense. And that change, according to several players, has been huge. The tempo at practice is faster, the messaging is clearer. And the expectations? They've been raised across the board. Players like CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson have talked openly about how much more involved they feel in the planning process. They're not just being told what to do, they're being asked for input. And that's the kind of shift that builds trust. You've got guys who want to be held accountable because they actually believe in the system. That's not something we could say with confidence about last year's offense. And get this, Schottenheimer isn't doing it by yelling or trying to play the tough guy. Instead, he's building real relationships. He's challenging guys one-on-one and making sure they understand the why behind every decision. When you've got a coach who treats you like a pro, who respects your voice, it makes you want to go the extra mile. And that's exactly what's happening here. But I want to know what you think. Do you believe a new coordinator can really shift the culture of a team this quickly? Drop your take in the comments right now, and let's make it interesting. Vote in the poll pinned below. Do you think the Cowboys offense will finish this season in the top 10 under Schottenheimer? Yes or no? All right, coming up next, let's break down how this renewed energy is showing up on the field, because it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another to actually see it in action. And from what we're hearing, the execution during OTAs has taken a noticeable leap. So let's talk about what this new energy under Schottenheimer actually looks like on the field. Because fan to fan, I know you care about more than just good vibes. You want results. And according to multiple reports out of OTAs, this Cowboys offense is already showing signs of sharper execution and better rhythm. First off, the communication has improved. Reporters on site have noted that Dak Prescott looks more confident and decisive during drills. He's getting the ball out faster, making cleaner reads, and most importantly, he looks in sync with his receivers. That's not just Dak stepping up. That's a system being tailored around his strengths, something we didn't always see with Kellen Moore's approach. Another standout? The root concepts are reportedly being simplified just enough to let playmakers like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks thrive. Instead of overloading the playbook with complex options, Schottenheimer is designing plays that get his top guys the ball in space. It's a common-sense adjustment, but one that makes all the difference when you're trying to build consistency. And let's not overlook the tight ends. Jake Ferguson and Luke Schoonmaker are both being featured more prominently, especially in the red zone. That's huge, because it means Schottenheimer isn't just focused on the deep ball. He's emphasizing efficiency and using every weapon in the arsenal. That's the kind of balance that wins games in December and January. There's also been a stronger emphasis on situational football. 2-minute drills, third down plays, red zone execution, you name it. Schottenheimer is drilling it hard. That attention to detail is exactly what the Cowboys have been missing when it counts the most. Let me ask you this. What's one area you'd personally like to see improve the most in the Cowboys' offense this season? Drop your answer in the comments and I'll be reading through them. Now, in the next chapter, we're going to dive into why this shift in energy and leadership could have a ripple effect across the entire team, not just on offense. Because when the tone changes on one side of the ball, it doesn't stay isolated for long. Now here's where things really start to get interesting, my friend. Because this new Schottenheimer energy, it's not just changing the offense, it's sending shockwaves through the entire locker room. And that kind of shift can redefine a whole season. You've probably heard the phrase, iron sharpens iron, right? Well, that's exactly what's happening in Dallas right now. With a more disciplined, detailed offense taking shape, the defense is being forced to elevate its game as well. Micah Parsons, for example, has been vocal about how the new offensive tempo is helping the defense stay sharp. Faster reads, quicker decisions, it's all pushing the defense to react smarter and faster. And that internal competition, it's breeding accountability. For the first time in a long time, players are being held to a higher standard in both meetings and practice. Schottenheimer's presence is helping Mike McCarthy set a tone where every rep matters. There's no room for freelancing or wasted motion. You execute or you sit. Another key ripple effect? Leadership. Dak Prescott is clearly embracing this change. Not only is he more vocal during walkthroughs and huddles, but his body language is different. He's not just a quarterback, he's becoming the tone setter. That kind of presence lifts everyone around him. And don't sleep on how this affects the younger guys either. Players like Jalen Tolbert, Deuce Vaughn, and TJ Bass are feeding off the structure. When the veterans lock in, it creates a blueprint for the rookies and second-year players to follow. That's how you build a culture, not with slogans, but with consistent habits. So here's my question to you. Do you think this kind of leadership shift will be enough to finally push Dallas over the playoff hump? Or do the Cowboys still need another veteran voice in the room? Let me know in the comments. Up next, we'll wrap this all up with a look at what this momentum could mean long-term. Is this just off-season buzz, or are we witnessing a real foundation being laid for something bigger? All right, now let's bring everything together and talk about what this actually means for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. Because, let's be honest, you've heard this kind of optimism before. We've all seen the training, camp hype, the flashes of potential, the interviews filled with confidence. But this time, it feels different. And I'll tell you why. What Schottenheimer is doing isn't just about X's and O's. It's about culture. It's about identity. For years, the Cowboys have been stuck in a cycle, talent-rich, but leadership-light. Big expectations, but poor execution when it matters most. What we're seeing now is the early stages of a mindset shift, and that starts at the top. This version of the Cowboys looks like it's being built to last. The offensive tweaks, the sharper structure, the new energy in the locker room, all of it points to a team that's serious about cleaning up the little things that cost them big games. It's not flashy, it's not viral, but it's the kind of work that lays the foundation for something real. Of course, none of this guarantees success. The NFC is tough. The 49ers and Eagles still have stacked rosters. But if you've got a unified team that's finally holding itself, accountable from within, that gives you a shot. And for once, it feels like the Cowboys are moving in that direction. So here's the final question I'll leave you with. Are we seeing the start of a new Cowboys era under Brian Schottenheimer's influence? Or is this just another off-season story that will fade when the real games begin? Scroll down and let me know what you think. Is this Cowboys team finally ready to flip the script? Or are we in for another year of what-ifs? And hey, if you've made it this far, thanks for riding with me. If you're as passionate about the Cowboys as I am, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got a long season ahead, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next on Cowboys News TV.